Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gibson Zulu, and I'm a Global Studies MS student from Zambia. I'd like to thank Rotary District 9210 for endorsing my dream of studying in the United States. And I'd love to thank all of you for making it here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're right here with us. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I come from a low-income family, but I managed to graduate from the University of Zambia in 2010, thanks to a government bursary. In 2013, I got my first job processing refugees for resettlement to the United States, Australia, Canada, and Norway with the UN Refugee Agency. In 2021, my career took me to Ethiopia, where I coordinated the delivery of protection and implementation of durable solutions with the UN Refugee Agency as a head of field unit. My research at UNC is anchored on exploring ways in which positive peace can be sustained by employing a grassroots perspective, a grassroots endeavor in fragile countries. Today, I'm going to demonstrate the dividends that education can sustain, the dividends that education can yield in sustaining positive peace, especially in Ethiopia. In 2021, I lived and worked in a refugee camp in Ethiopia. My entire career, I'd never lived in a refugee camp. So this period was very transformative for me. The Shekole refugee camp was established in 1996 to accommodate Sudanese refugees fleeing the carnage during the Second Sudanese Civil War. Today, the population of the camp stands at 12,200, of whom 1,950 are refugees of school-going age. And these have fled conflict, interstate conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo and South Sudan. The Shekole refugee camp provides water and sanitation, education, and primary health care to Ethiopians from 2 host communities surrounding the camp. And that's a way for promoting peace. Some of the findings of my research have revealed that by linking a grassroots peace building endeavor to long-term development, including education, is a perfect antidote to inequality and exclusion, which are drivers of conflict. However, this is not a situation which obtains because education rarely features in the national development plans of host countries. During a monitoring visit, I came across a 9th grade refugee from Eastern DRC. His name was Gisubio. Gisubio lamented the dismal state of education in the Shekole refugee camp. His story reminded me of my embattled childhood and how his dreams of contributing to restoring peace to the restive eastern part of the DRC and studying at a university in the future hang in the balance. Within the school, there's a computer lab which fosters digital education. The computer lab is one safe space that allows positive interaction between the Ethiopian host and their refugee counterparts without triggering conflict. I can never overemphasize the importance of digital education for supporting financial inclusion, not only for refugees, but members of the host community as well. Some of you might be wondering how long an average refugee family spends in exile. The global statistics stand at 5 years and more. For the Shekole refugee camp, most refugees have lived there for more than decades with no end in sight. Repan is a multi-talented refugee from Sudan. Mama Jane, or Jane Masika, is a serial entrepreneur from the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. And these have lived in the Shekole refugee camp for decades with no end in sight. This poses a developmental problem which short-term humanitarian aid cannot accommodate. Mama Jane and Repan are emblems of the dividends that refugee education can yield vis-a-vis promoting self-reliance. Refugee education engenders so many positive aspects for peace. Refugee education, there's solid evidence which substantiate the fact that refugee education mitigates recruitment into violent radicalization or extremist groups. Refugee education mitigates gender disparities. Refugee education mitigates poverty as well. And refugee education is a surest way of attaining self-reliance and promoting peace. During my Rotary applied field experience in Geneva in Switzerland, with the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, I had a front row seat to United Nations member states pivot towards a developmental perspective or developmental approach in order to sustain positive peace. And education is a perfect conduit for attaining these endeavors. Ethiopia's ability to provide adequate education for its citizens, let alone that of refugees, hangs in the balance, given Ethiopia's precarious economic status. Ethiopia is one of the low-income countries that hosts about 85% of the world's forcibly displaced people. Besides that, Ethiopia's economy was shattered 2 years ago during the Tigrayan civil war. What this means is Ethiopia is going to need a lot of international support, international partnerships, in order to provide adequate education for its citizens and refugees. In 2018, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Global Compact for Refugees. This is a non-legally binding framework which is meant to alleviate the pressure of hosting refugees. But besides that, it's meant to ensure the prosperity of not only refugees, but members of the host community as well. Cognizant of the intrinsic value of education, Ethiopia made 5 pledges to the Global Compact for Refugees. However, 2 of these pledges include transitioning refugee schools and transforming refugee camps into urban settlements by 2027. However, like I earlier alluded to, attaining these endeavors hangs in the balance given Ethiopia's economic capacity gap. What are the consequences of not supporting education for people like Gisubi and this horse? Well, underinvestments in education are going to lead to violent radicalization. They're going to incentivize the entrenchment of gender disparities and poverty as well. Bear in mind that Ethiopia and Djibouti are 2 of the only stable democratic nations in the Horn of Africa. Besides that, Ethiopia is surrounded by a lot of countries at conflict, and a pool of unemployed and disaffected young men creates a windfall for terrorist groups. How can we make a difference for Gisubi on this horse? Some of the solutions that I've outlined above are all anchored on international partnerships. This is going to require a multinational response and international partnerships. For example, transitioning the school is going to require partnerships with international financial corporations like the World Bank. Employing of government teachers is going to require support of the World Bank as well. Some of you in this room and some of you who are listening online might elect to volunteer with the Peace Corps or with the United Nations volunteers. And who knows, you could be deployed to bolster the ranks of teachers in that refugee camp. Education is a very powerful tool for social mobility. It bolsters self-reliance, not only for refugees, but for members of the host community as well. Education is the surest path to attaining self-reliance. I leave you this photo of an Eastern DRC refugee who just graduated from the University of Zambia, courtesy of a German government scholarship called DAFI for supporting refugees in host countries. In our own words, education is the surest tool for attaining social mobility and self-reliance. I wouldn't be standing here before you had it not been for education. It's my sincere hope that through concerted efforts and international partnerships, we can work together and ensure that international peace and the hopes of a better future for Gisubio can be actualized. Thank you very much.